right, good morning. Another drive through the country today. We are doing a Saturday in, what is this, kind of mid-August time frame, and we are cruising through Delaware County. I will be into Schoharie County, and then I'll loop back into central and then actually western Delaware County. So a big 113-ish mile loop for me today. Mostly working with one buyer group and their journey to find the right property. I will stop before I meet them to do a quick land recon of a parcel of a property for a potential future sale. So when I'm out traveling, I try to maximize the return on my time. So if I have properties that I know are sort of in the near to medium to medium long-term future, if I'm going to be right in the area, I'll spend time and do a little bit of I'm the one that does all these recon videos and stuff. That's kind of like my shtick? I don't know. It's what I believe is important. And oftentimes what I'll do is see a property. I always want to go to a property at least once so that I can walk the whole thing, and that helps me to know what it is in all of its features and aspects, and then I can help the sellers to price the property appropriately. A couple of beautiful deer up here. Let me pivot right here. A couple little deer right on the side of the road. A couple fawns. Oh, good morning, guys. So a lot of people oversimplify it, and I'm a fan of simplification when it's merited. However, I think that land is very unique, and I firmly believe that you can't just pull 10-acre parcels that sold and average them and say, oh, that's the price per acre in this area. I just don't believe that it's as simple as that. I believe that land is nuanced. I believe it has context. I believe things like frontage, the amount of open versus wooded areas, the slope of the land, the access, the road type, the perimeter buffer from other residences or other potentially negative things, the privacy factor, the view factor, the potential development factor, the long-term value factor, the short-term value factor, potential timber. What is this useful for? Is it recreational mostly, or is it potentially residential, or is it capable of being even more than that? Could it be commercial? Could it be subdivided? There's lots that goes into what land is and could be, and I believe that all of those things go into the evaluation. And I don't think you can do that by sitting at a desk and looking at a tax map and saying, oh, yep, that's worth $5,000 an acre. There you go, done and dusted. So that's why I go out there early in this interaction phase. Once I speak with someone, I say, I'll go check it out. I'll get back to you, and then we discuss. Here's how we can strategize to move forward. So I'll do that once today, and then I'll go and work with some buyers and see some lovely properties. Ooh, and now we've been on a really lovely named road, Brick House Hill Road. We're descending north down into State Highway 23, Davenport. This is actually a wicked steep hill. I used to live not far from here, and I used to bike up this thing, and this was a challenge for sure. Beautiful descent here down into this nice Charlotte Creek Valley, and we will be on the brakes here as we come down to this intersection, but then we'll be turning east on State Highway 23, which would point us towards towns like Stamford. Well, we'll pass through Davenport, and then it'll be Stamford, and then eventually Grand Gorge and things like that. Got a couple of really nice historic structures here at the base of this intersection, and then we'll be passing right through Davenport by the school and the post office here in this cute little town. And maybe I'll just roll film. I'll just roll film through Davenport here, and we'll fast watch it together. Man, that is another person out for a walk. This is the most walked morning I've seen in ages. And I think I'm usually out and about on weekends about this time. But it is a pedestrian delight today. All right, that's about it for the main stretch of Davenport. Not a ton of commerce in Davenport. You have a gas station, post office, fire department, a few little shops, but not a ton of commerce right in town. Mostly a little residential corridor. And now we're back onto 55 mile an hour State Highway 23, headed west. Headed east. And if we keep going straight, we'll eventually be headed into the slightly larger northern Catskills mountain range. And we're coming up on yet another cyclist here. And give this guy a nice wide berth. And we're cruising down this another little drainage valley here, which is not technically Charlotte Creek, but to our right there's a stream that eventually leads into the Charlotte Creek Valley. And I wanted to mention real quick, like how some of our road nomenclature works out here. So I love this road. This is just a really nice curving, winding, slightly elevated, slight little undulations on this roadway, winding through this gorgeous rolling topography. But this is County Highway 29. So there are, in our area, we have interstates, of course. We have I-88 is the main artery that runs through the area, connects Binghamton to Albany, and generally my service range is somewhat kind of right in the middle of those two cities, and you draw a big radius from that middle point, which is somewhat near Oneonta, New York, and then you kind of go out from there. So that's our interstate infrastructure. And then you have state highways, which are your busier roads, your main roads, more truck traffic, wider lanes, wider shoulders generally, higher speeds, and you'll often, those are still generally 2-lane roads. We have very few like median or multi-lane highways in our area. And then you go onto these roads. This is a county road, a county highway, and this is maintained obviously by the county highway department. And they're a mix of anything from 55 mile an hour to locally posted. I believe this one is 40 coming through here. People do go faster than that, but and it's probably safe enough to be fair, but I don't know, man. I'm going 44, and this feels real pleasant. It's a nice road to look at and enjoy. And here's another example of local life up here. Just a small lumber mill here, getting fresh cut lumber for people to build sheds and structures and siding and things like that. And then you've got your town roads, which are generally even smaller. And where I am, a town road can be anything from paved with lines to paved without lines to stone without a lot of maintenance, but still town maintained road. And then you have some town roads that are seasonal in nature. Those are almost always rough stone old farm roads, and they are usually touched up every spring or summer loosely. And then the winter months, it's unplowed and it's unmaintained, and it's kind of like, hey, if you want to use it, go for it, but we're not gonna tend to it. And then you've got private roads, and those are all a whole different ball of wax, and those are everywhere in between, from really well maintained with high level, member contribution for maintenance and repair, all the way to, oh yeah, this thing was a private road that was a subdivision in 1974, and no one's put down a single stone ever since then, and it's all washed out and rough, and everything in between. And Bob at the end of the road, he plows it once in a while when he comes up with his quad. It's a real spectrum on the private roads, but that's a glimpse into our road infrastructure for anyone that cares. So here's a quick example of one of these private roads. Now this one does have some full-time residences right behind me, and then as I go further up this road, it is bumpy, rough. It's got nice big cobbles in it, and there are far worse roads, but it's bumpy. I'm going like 8 miles an hour. But this is the kind of thing where you just don't know what every private road is going to present itself as. So that's just kind of the process of learning. Every subdevelopment is different, and the road conditions and quality will be different as well.